Welcome back to your crafty place. Today we're going to work on a really quick fall card. I've cut all of the items as well as colored all the items, but I'm going to explain to you what I did. But if you didn't need to watch me do all of that since I'm not the best at the coloring. The items that we are using today, besides our normal stuff like our glue press and some of the basic stuff, I am spelling the word fall with these letters here. These are Hero Art's luggage tag alphabet. Any alphabet would do, or if you have a cricket or a silhouette, you could cut out your alphabet that way. You can also just use a stamp set and stamp it onto a small piece of paper. I'm also using this stamp set from Echo Park. It is Give Thanks stamp set, and I'm using this pumpkin, the owl, all of the leaves that it has in it, the fox, and we have the pumpkin pie. We'll see if we're going to put that on there or not. I probably will also use one of the sentiments, but I haven't done that yet. I also used the Darice wood grain embossing folder. If you didn't have the wood grain embossing folder, you could just cut out the planks that we're going to use, which I actually cut them out on my silhouette, and then I use the embossing folder to give them the texture. If you had a die similar to this, which is the Spellbinders Welcome Fall, they have some wood planks in here that you could use to build the fence that we're building. They also have some larger leaves if you wanted to use those. But that one we are not using today, but I just wanted to give you another possible one. There's other stamp sets out there as well. We're also going to use a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper cut in half at 4 1/4 today, so that means we'll have a top folding card. Still 5.5 by 4 1/4. It's just top folding instead of side opening. I'm going to have a layering piece of a darker brown that is just shy of 5.5 and just shy of 4 1/4, so that I can see just a tad bit of the white around there. I also have a piece of green leaves here, and that came from this paper collection here from Recollections. It is Thankful Heart, and it is a couple of years old, I believe. I don't know if there's a way to tell the date on there or not, but it does have some sheets with foil on it. I am not using a foil one, I'm using this one. And this one, I can't remember what I cut it at, but you could cut it, I cut it at 4 by 5. So you could cut it, I don't know why I cut it like that, but it'll be okay because this is going to go along the top, so you won't even see that. So that's okay. This piece is used, I used some of the vintage photo, and I just put it down on my glass mat and then sprayed it with a little bit of water and then dipped this in there and then dried it. So I've made that paper myself. I've cut this to 4 by 1 1/4. The letters that we are using are just shy of 3/4 of an inch, I believe. Oh no, just shy of 1 inch there. And those are going to go on here, on our little piece that we're going to have go across the top of the card here. I have another L someplace here. So that'll kind of go along the top. And then we have just some strips of brown paper that are going to be our fence stringers. And then we have fence posts, or fence pickets. And these, like I said, were pieces that I designed in Procreate and then saved them as an SVG and sent them over to my silhouette and cut them out of my silhouette, and then used the embossing folder to emboss. The embossing folder is a little large for the wood grain or the wood texture that's on there, but it works okay for me. I did use some Distress Oxide and Distress ink on here, but it's not really showing up that much because I would use vintage photo, so it gives it a little bit, but not a lot. I cut them all the same size, and then once I actually got them done, then what I did was just cut them off just a little bit and reshaped the bottom. So you could see that they get a little bit smaller as they go over to the side here. So that's kind of how I'm going to do that. And then I have these cute little guys here, the fox, the pumpkins with the flowers, the owl, there's the tree branch, and then there's several of the little flowers here, or little leaves. I stamped these all with VersaFine Onyx Black. Then I stamped them with the embossing ink, just a clear embossing ink, and then did black embossing powder over that. And then I came back with some distress inks and a little bit of water and a paintbrush, and I colored them that way. So that this is a little bit different way of doing it. The embossing, it kind of keeps the ink where it needs to go. And then I used my silhouette to cut these all out. So I used my PixScan mat to scan them in and then cut them out. I think so. Cricut has something that's similar. My Cricut is not working because of the roller balls on it, or the rollers on the bar. So I used my silhouette instead. I have a Cameo 5. If you guys are interested in learning any more about that, let me know. I'd be happy to do some videos on that. I'm going to quickly just put some music on and let you guys watch me put it all together, and then we'll come back and check it out at the end. Alright, so there is our card. I did stamp the inside with one of the little pumpkins, and I used the Lisa Horton Cloud 9 Pumpkin Spice Shimmer. I do have a little black mark on there, I think, but once I actually write something on there, I don't think you will notice it. I did try to get it off with the Mono Sand Eraser this year, and I may try a little bit more to get it off. It should get it off eventually, but I was on my Misty, and I have a gel mat inside my Misty, so I didn't want to do too much because it does give you a little bit of burrs that you have to wipe off, and I didn't want it on my gel mat. So here is the outside of the card, though. Again, the items that we used were the stamp set from Echo Park that is called the Give Thanks stamp set. There's the item number if you are interested in that. Then we used for the fall, and I did not try to line it up because I don't see it has to be lined up straight. I could have had it so that it was falling down. That would have been kind of cute too. But I just kind of put it on there in a random way because I'm a random person that way. We used the Hero Arts luggage tag alphabet. There's the item number for that if you're interested. And then I used the silhouette to cut out some fence posts, fence pickets, and then I just cut a couple of straight line pieces of the same brown to be as the stringers. Probably should have put the one up a little bit higher, but it's okay. And then I used my silhouette to fussy cut all of these. I did not fussy cut these guys out. That's why they've got a pretty good line all the way around them. If you guys are interested in how to use that on the silhouette, let me know. I will be happy to show you. The leaves were not quite as good as the animals. That's because they were kind of, I had some of the embossing powder came off on those, but I did use the VersaFine Black Onyx ink, then the just clear embossing ink, and then I used black embossing powder on the top of that, and then I came in with the distress inks and some water and a paintbrush and colored all of the images that way. And I think they turned out good. There's a little bit of shine to them, but the colors are not overbearing. You can kind of see some texture, so to speak. I just used, I think it's the gear paper, maybe. It's from Walmart. It's just white paper. It's nothing fancy. So if I would have done much more watercoloring, it probably would have caused my paper to burr a little bit, but it wasn't that much, so it was okay. I can list the colors of the distress ink that I used down below. I know the orange was a pumpkin. I used some red and a couple different colors of green and some brown. I think that was about the only colors I used. I had some other colors out. I think I had a blue and some other things, but I wound up not using those. So that's a little tree stamp there that's in the same stamp set. And in All Things Give Thanks is the stamp set that I used, but all the stamps came from the same stamp set. And then the paper is from a paper pad from Michael's, and then this is paper that we made, that I made on my own using the vintage photo distressed ink and some water, and then just kind of dab the paper around and then use my heat tool to set it and dry it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the card. I'd love to see what you guys make if you have this stamp set, or if you have a similar stamp set where you can make kind of a fall themed card. I'd love to see it, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.